Well,
Fuck this team. Fuck my life. Why do we support this team?
I couldn't tell you, man. I seriously can't tell you. You know, there's no way to really start here. So the only good way to start is to go right back to the beginning of the season. Now, Kyle Dubas, I'm not gonna put any of this on him because he put together an amazing team. Um, and I think every single Leafs fan, even people who were Leafs fans, they knew this team was gonna be good. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
went through, they dominated. They had a bad stretch once, maybe twice, a semi bad stretch. But other than that, they absolutely dominated the regular season. The first round's a whole different story, but
But none of that means jack shit, does it? At the end of the day,
yep,
right?
exactly.
Right. And for anyone who's watching this right now who's wondering like why we're not freaking out or like yelling in anger, the reality is Game 5 and Game 6 were shocking. That's when we got mad because this year's team was supposed to be different. This year's team was supposed to be the team that could overcome situations like this, could finish the deal, could win the games that needed to be won, which is why Game 5, the way they lost it was shocking. And why the way they lost Game 6 was appalling. But I think every single Leafs fan that watched this playoff series, the moment that puck went into the back of the net in Game 6 when Travis Dermott lost the puck and Kotkaniemi just ripped one past Jack Campbell. I think 90% of the Leafs fans knew the series was over, and so this doesn't. I don't think this comes to a surprise to any Leafs fan.
Yeah, and honestly, there's nothing to even be mad about anymore because it's just
I'm
routine
not
at this
mad.
point. It's routine at
I'm
this
just,
point.
I'm I'm just disappointed in myself for expecting anything to be different.
Yeah, but
That's
it's routine at this point. We we think every single year it's going to be different because we come back a little bit better. This year they made a huge jump. They're way better, and we thought, okay, it's going to be different. No, it's not. Like next year, I'm going to go into next year and there's going to be no hope. Like there's nothing to hope for. You got a 40 goal scorer, two players on pace for 100 points. Um,
an
the
actual defense.
yeah,
An actual defense.
the works. There is nothing on that team that you need more of. There's absolutely
It,
nothing.
I mean, there were so many signs that just said the Leafs were poised to make a deep cup run this year. Deepest team we've ever had. Two elite offensive talents up front with great depth and a hot goalie who just came out of nowhere. Right? I was looking at Jack Campbell and I was saying, this is our year. We found our Jordan Binnington. We found our goalie for the playoffs stretch. But even a hot goalie cannot save this team.
And you know what? He did it to himself too. Cause oh my god, that first goal! Like I get Marner did the giveaway, but that was at the blue line. There was three people back. How do you not stop that? Like I kid
I
you
mean,
not. I kid you not. I'm a 16-year-old goaltender, and I could stop that. I have no doubt about it. I've seen worse shots than that come from the worst players in my league. I could stop that.
at the end of the day, when people say sports fans are insane, I disagree with them with one caveat. Not all sports fans are insane. Toronto Maple Leafs sports fans are fucking insane. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And every year we look at this team and we pour our heart and our soul and our hopes and our dreams onto this team, onto this roster with this core group of players. And we expect something different every single time. And it never changes. It's the same result. And like you saw my reaction to Game 6. Like I was freaking out, I was yelling, I was screaming all over the place. I'm just disappointed at this point.
Yep. Like a lot of people thought I overreacted because it was Game 5, but at that point, I thought the writing was on the walls. Because like you can't
I I knew the writing was on the wall. Like I agree with you, but I didn't overreact simply because I thought I have to give this team a chance. If this team is truly different, then they will come back and they will find a way to win game 6. But the moment they lost game 6, I knew it was over. It was a certainty. There was no chance they were coming back from that. Carey Price was living rent free in their head. He's literally their dad. Carey Price can literally from now on go into any building in Toronto and open it without a lock. He should just be allowed to live anywhere he wants. Screw the housing market in Toronto, man. He practically owns the city at this point. Austin Matthews had 40 goals in a shortened season. And he had one goal. I've never seen Matthews and Marner look so normal this season. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially Marner. Oh my God, we need to trade Marner, bro. I don't want to overreact, but we need to trade Marner, bro. This man's literally Houdini. Every year, come playoff time, this man just pulls off the most immaculate, most perfect disappearing act I've ever seen in my life. It's like clockwork. The moment we hit the playoffs, Mitch Marner goes from potential top 10 winger in the NHL to James Neal. Like,
I can't. Look, I love Mitch Marner. I really do. Like, I think for people our age, like me and Ryan, younger Leafs fans, that guy's like the heart and soul of the fan base. That's why he has an A.
oh yeah, we love the guy, just like we love Morgan Riley.
Yep.
They're Canadian boys, especially Marner. He played his hockey in London. He's from the Toronto area, right? He's like John Tavares, except if Tavares had been drafted by the Leafs, right? He's that supposed superstar hometown kid that's playing for his dream team, and I love him for that. But
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in the end of the day. He's gotta perform.
and the thing with Mitch Marner is in the regular season, he's this creative guy who finds space on the ice, who's so creative, who finds his teammates, and it's like watching him play is like watching art unfold. It looks like he's seeing the game levels ahead. And in a year where the Leafs were absolutely atrocious on the power play, Mitch Marner's production did not suffer at all.
Yeah.
So he showed us he's not just a power play merchant. He's a guy who can impact the game on a 5-on-5 level. But the moment we hit the playoffs, it's almost like he just has blinders on. He doesn't know what he's doing with the puck. He looks lost. He doesn't look comfortable. He's rushing decisions. He can't pass the puck. Marner already has like he's like got a decent shot, but like his unwillingness to shoot is like already hampers him. And then you add in when he hits the playoffs, he just forgets how to make passes, and he just becomes this.
Just another
I don't know
guy.
how to describe him.
He's just another guy at that point. Like
He's literally just another guy.
yeah. Like you talked about Morgan Riley. First of all, I think he had a pretty damn good series. I can't.
Oh no, Mo had a great series. I don't
Yeah.
have any gripes about how especially with the minutes that he was forced to play. Riley had an amazing series.
Yep. I think we had a conversation about this before, me, Ryan. We were talking about Muzzin. And I was under the in my opinion, Riley, he's our best defenseman. Ryan disagreed. He said it was Muzzin, which is fair enough, but still.
Oh, I'm not saying Muzzin is our best defenseman. I'm saying he's our most important.
Yeah, most important. Sorry. But yeah, Riley, you know what? Okay, let's be a bit positive just for a second here. There are some really good takeaways. William Nylander, he was amazing. Jack Campbell, up until Freddie does the same thing. Like, I'm being completely honest. We saw it with Freddie.
And to be fair, I feel like Jack was better this series than Freddie has been in pretty much most of his playoff series in terms of timely saves.
Yeah, but then also the untimely goals. It's the same situation.
But less so to an extent.
Yeah, less so to a lesser extent. Yeah. But
I don't feel like Jack was bad in any of his games.
Yeah.
Per se. I think that one goal he had tonight, which was kind of weak.
Yeah,
but outside of that, it was just Carey Price was just better.
Yeah. Um, and someone else who played really good is Jason Spezza.
Spencer needs to go to a different team, bro.
Yeah, he
Like I'm
doesn't.
not even.
We don't deserve
I'm
him.
not even. He does. We don't deserve this guy. This man is 37 years old, and he comes out here and he's literally like our third best forward. He goes out there and he plays with heart and he knows it's his last year and one of his last few seasons he wants a cup and to see him have to be subjected to this misery to this absolute embarrassment of a franchise is quite like we're ruining the man's legacy. Like Spencer, I love you. I love that you're willing to sign a veterans minimum to try to win with Toronto. But my man, just sign a minimum deal with Colorado, please, for Leafs fans, okay? Because I don't think Leafs fans would be able to forgive themselves if Jason Spezza stuck with this team for like the last 2 years of his career,
And didn't win a
just to
cup.
flounder and lose in the first round every single year and never win a cup. I cannot have that on my conscience. Like.
Yeah. Who else played really good? I don't know. People were saying, oh, people were touting Zach Bogosian. Like, come on, he really wasn't that good.
Bogle, the thing is, like, Bogle wasn't bad. And considering, like, Bogle wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. He did what we expected him to do, which, given how two of our other bottom pair defensemen played this series,
Well,
is really good.
to be fair, Dermott did pretty good.
Tournament was average for most of it, and he had that really one bad play. He had that one really bad play. You know, like Dermott was basically Dermott. You know, like he wasn't good, he wasn't bad. He was a bit jittery with the puck, you know, in his own end. You know, he was fine. Like under normal circumstances, you know, that's a passable third pair D man, right? But that one mistake that literally handed Montreal the game obviously puts a huge damper on his overall performance. Where, you know, good enough for a third pair defenseman is no longer good enough because guess what? Jake Muzzin died, so now you're playing in overtime instead of sitting on the bench.
Yeah. Um, who else? I
I
think
mean,
that's pretty much all. No one
I mean
else.
that's it. I mean that like Matthews. I think Matthews was fine, but I think Marner's disappearing act really impacted Matthews because I don't think Matthews this season, especially in a relatively weaker North Division, I don't think Matthews has had to take over a game, and I think he couldn't really figure out how to do that, how to really generate his chances as effectively with Mitch Marner just deciding to not play hockey anymore.
And I mean,
Um,
Matthews did good. He got a lot of chances. Just
he
carry
had
the
a lot of
press.
chances. Yeah, yeah, like
He led the series in chances. He led the series in
yeah,
shots.
that's what I'm saying. Like Matthews didn't play bad at all, but I think like his conversions were less because one, Carey Price was elite,
Yeah.
and number two, he didn't have his wingman, right? Like Batman can only be Batman for so long without Robin,
Yeah.
right? And Robin just decided to disappear into the night sky and just not come back, like that puck he flung over the glass.
Yeah. Uh,
Like Mitch Marner's playoff series is just the Toronto Maple Leafs in a microcosm.
yeah. Yeah. It describes it perfectly. That is like, if you wanted to describe the Leafs last four. Okay, I'm not gonna say 4 years. Yeah, 4 years
Four
now.
years.
It's
4
been
years.
yeah, it's been
4
4
years.
years now. It's Mitch Marner. He hasn't done anything.
He's just hasn't been good. And people like rip on John Tavares all the time. Like John Tavares isn't the one who's like John Tavares, Austin Matthews are not the two guys that are going missing in the playoffs. John Tavares is like near point per game in the playoffs with the Leafs.
Yeah,
Like John Tavares is not the problem.
yeah.
Mitch
Like,
Marner is the guy who consistently goes on a disappearing act every playoffs.
and I don't wanna put blame on injuries, but John. I came into the series thinking Matthews and Marner they're gonna be shut down. They're well close to something around them. Their production's gonna slow down a lot because the Habs are gonna be on them. I thought Tavares and Nylander were gonna be our best two players. Nylander was our best player, and
Oh
then Tavares goes out, and
yeah.
and Wingman and goddamn it, Nylander loses his partner. So I don't think
I,
that helped either.
No, for sure not. And obviously, Foligno and Hyman were not 100%.
Yeah,
Rushed back from injury because the team just needed bodies. But at the end of the day, like, you know,
yeah, the team still should have won. It's still better.
and this team, you look at like I said, at like You look at this team on paper, you compare to Montreal on paper. Either you take out John Tavares and Jake Muzzin, and you look at these two teams and you say which team should win. The answer is the Leafs. And the ridiculous thing is Montreal's top guys like Nick Suzuki, KK, like
They
these
went on
guys.
our third line.
Yeah, and these guys aren't exactly lighting up the Leafs, right? Guys like Eric Stahl and Paul Byron and Joel Armia are the ones that are killing us, right? And obviously Cole Caulfield and Suzuki had like timely goals, and KK had that game winner, right? But like in terms of like the depth for Montreal really just showed up, right? And you look at a guy like Joel Armia. I like Joel Armia, right? On a healthy Leafs team, the guy's a fourth liner. Let's be honest. On a healthy Leafs team, Joel Armia he's a fourth liner,
Probably, yeah.
and this guy single-handedly won a game for Montreal. Right?
Pretty
Nick
much.
Suzuki, great player, probably a third line center for the Leafs.
Yep.
Right? He'd probably be a second line center with our injuries, but third line center, the Leafs are healthy, right? Like on paper, the Leafs are a better team, and I really think someone has to go this offseason.
Yeah,
Someone has to go.
I don't know if anyone's going to be. I don't know if the Leafs can win a trade with Marner, so that's going to be tough. The Leafs are definitely going to lose a trade with Nylander because his contract's so damn good.
What if the Leafs trade Nylander? I'm done.
Yeah, they can't trade Nylander. I think Dubas knows that. And if they fire Dubas, we're screwed. There's no one better. There's no better option for a GM right now.
I don't think it's Dubas' fault.
Yeah, not
But
at all.
if the Leafs need to make some move, they need to make a move. And I think even if we have to trade Marner at a loss, I think we have to do it because this core is not working.
Yeah, which makes no sense. If they play like they play in the regular season, even the Stanley Cup playoffs are a cakewalk. It's not close.
We were supposed to walk through the North Division. Don't like this year. It was supposed to be third round or bust. Like it's a failure if you don't make it to the third round. We couldn't even get out of the first round. Like
Hmm.
I can't with this team. I can't with this team. Um, like
Like they're still young, right? The core, for the most part, is still young. So they're gonna be able to come back with the same team next year, and they'd still be a Stanley Cup contender. But what would happen again? Would they go into the first round? Would they get kicked out? We obviously don't know, but history says, yeah,
yes,
they choke to a team that probably wouldn't have even made the playoffs if it were a regular season, or sorry, just a normal season.
on normal season. Yeah, like Montreal. If there wasn't a North Division, Montreal would not be a playoff team. And now they're about to walk into the second round. What does that say about this team? We had 7 games to beat a team that isn't good enough to be in the playoffs in any other year, and we couldn't get the job done. That's how incapable this team is of winning a playoff game. You're winning a playoff series. All right? Like winning a playoff game doesn't even matter at this point. Like they've done it multiple times already. Like, is it too much to ask as a Leafs fan for one series? One series. Like, I'm not at like a lot of people are saying like, oh, Leafs like bust. Like, if they don't make it to the third round, the seasons are officially failed. Like, I agree with that. Okay, but deep down, as a Leafs fan, like, I would have taken a second round exit to be
At this
honest.
point, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would have just liked to enjoy 2 days of celebrating the Leafs making it past the first round. And we couldn't even get that.
You
It's just a
know,
joke.
yeah, so, and now all the depth is so old. Yeah, Thornton's not gonna come back and be the same. If he does come back at all, he's not gonna be. He wasn't good this year already. He's gonna be absolutely trash next year. I don't know. Simmons, he was nowhere.
He wasn't the same after he came back from injury.
Yeah. Kerfoot's probably gone just so that we can keep Hyman. Um,
I mean, this is as good as the team was gonna get
yeah.
in terms of I think in terms just because the flat cap for the next couple seasons,
Yeah,
right?
it's not getting better. You're right, Ryan. It's not getting better than this.
This team like this was our shot, and Dubas knew that. which is why he made that move for Foligno and Hutton and Nash at the deadline.
Who
He knew
all of them did absolutely nothing, by the way.
all of them. Hutton didn't get in a single game. Riley Nash clearly didn't recover in time and didn't have enough time to gel with the team. And Foligno was great at first, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, this is like I keep like closing my eyes and covering my face and thinking that maybe this is just all a bad dream. And the Leafs actually won in an alternate universe. The Leafs actually won this game, and we're going to be. But I just like this is something that's just dawned on me. Like our season's over.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't actually.
Like that didn't hit me until like just now. Like there is no more Leafs hockey for the next like month, and then we're gonna hit the off season.
Yeah, for the last 3 years, I've been mad when the Leafs go out because
Yeah,
I expected something to happen, or I didn't expect something to happen. Either one. All
you
right.
had you had hope. You had
Yeah.
hope.
This time I had confidence, and that was a fatal flaw.
Even worse.
Yeah, it was so much worse. And look at me now. I'm miserable.
We just I think we have to trade Martin. Like someone has to go. And after the playoffs that Nylander had, he is clearly not the issue on this team. So if the Leafs trade him, I'm done. I'm packing my bags. I'm moving to Ottawa. I'm becoming a Sens fan. They better not trade Nylander. I swear to God, if they trade Nylander, there will be another video, and I'll say this much: it will be a lot closer to my Game 6 reaction than this more calm Game 7 reaction. If I find out the Leafs trade
Hmm.
Nylander, okay, I'm gonna say that much. I think Marner has to go, and I think we're probably gonna have to sell low on him. But that cap space is gonna be invaluable because I think clearly Marner is not the guy. And if we can get a replacement level first line winger in return for him, and they use that extra like $5 million of cap space throughout the rest of our lineup, we might actually have a better chance.
Well, the thing is,
Playoffs.
throughout the rest of the lineup, what the hell else are we supposed to get? At this point, what else are we supposed to get?
A third line center,
Well, I mean,
since we're probably losing Kerfoot.
yeah, we either lose Kerfoot
A,
or Dermott, but
a third. I mean, we're losing one of Kerfoot or Dermott anyways to the expansion draft, right? They'll probably take Dermott unless we can convince them to take Kerfoot. But at the end of the day, like this team is gonna get gutted in the offseason just because of cap reasons, right? If we trade Marner, at least we can try to retain some of that depth, bring in some guys for the bottom six. But like I feel like this team has just gotten too comfortable. Like you look at like this is not a criticism of Dubas because I feel like a lot of general managers in his situation probably would have been forced into the same hand. But you look at Matthews, Marner, Nylander, right? These three guys, great players, but they walked in here, played pretty well, and were basically just immediately handed the keys to the entire franchise for like long-term big money. And clearly they're too comfortable. They think, you know what? If we don't win it this year, guess what? We're all still signed for the next 4 years. We'll be fine. We'll do better next year. And that's just the team's mentality. Something has to give. Something has to change. Dubas has to make it clear to these guys, none of you are irreplaceable. I don't care if I gave you 8 years, 11 million, 6 years, $11 million. I don't care if I drafted you with a 4th overall pick or a top 10 pick. I don't care if you're one of my star players and I acquiesce. None of you are untouchable. If I have to trade you to get this team to perform in the playoffs, I will move you. And he has to send that message because this team right now looks absolutely lost. Absolutely lost. And quite frankly, it's embarrassing to watch. It's embarrassing to watch. It's embarrassing to watch how this team collapsed in Game 7 because you could see the entire game. Carey Price was in their head. He was living rent free. You could tell the energy level, right? And obviously Game 6, I wasn't even like you could tell like after Game 5, like Game 6, like the Leafs got outplayed for the majority of that game. For 50 minutes in that game, the Leafs got completely outplayed and outclassed by the Habs. And the talent bailed them out in the last 10 minutes. And then obviously they lost an OT, right? But it's like that. Like there shouldn't be games when it's an elimination game and your back is against the wall. There should never be a game where your team got thoroughly outplayed for 50 minutes of the 60 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
That should never happen. You look at any cup contender. You look at Boston. You look at the Islanders. You look at any of those teams. Never in any of their games did you go, that team was out of it for the entire game.
Yep.
And with the Leafs, it happened at least 3 times.
Yeah, and the Leafs with, they can play 10 minutes of a game and be better than the Canadians. They can tie the game up by playing 10 good minutes. Just at least a period.
Do it over 60. Do
Yeah.
it over 6. I don't even need you to do it over 60. Do it over 40. I'll play them for 2 periods. All right? Because that's basically what the Leafs did in the first half of the series. The first 4 games of the series, the Leafs outplayed the Habs in the first 2 periods of the game, and then absolutely shit the bed in the 3rd period. But Jack Campbell was great in the 3rd period, and the team was good defensively, and they were able to close it out, right?
Yeah, so with like 10 minutes of
and
just
something
good.
just happened.
Oh, something happened.
Yeah, no, you go. Like.
Well,
No, nothing happened.
Like I said, just 10 minutes. Look, this team's problem, like since forever, we knew this was this was the only thing that could have gone wrong, and it did. They just didn't play their game. Their game that completely dominates any other team in this league. I'm saying it right now. If they played their game, they're the best team in this league.
They can be. I don't think you can say outright, but they can be easily. They can go head to head if they're playing their brand of hockey. They can go head to head with any team in this league easily. Even the ones that like people think like all the American teams are like a class ahead, like teams like Colorado and Tampa. Like sure, or Carolina. Sure, the Leafs, if they play their brand of hockey, they can go head to head with any of those 3 teams. Talent level wise, I don't think that's even a question. But all 3 of those teams have something that the Leafs don't have, which is a mental fortitude.
Yeah, and you'd think bringing in all these veteran players would give you that, but apparently not. It's just when they get on. It happens all the time. These players that they're supposed to be so good and bring this type of leadership, they just turn to absolute crap when they come to the Leafs. Other than Jason Spezza, like Foligno, I know he got injured, but still. Thornton, I know he's really, really old, but still. Simmons, yeah, like just if any of these guys just have one of their average seasons or average playoff seasons, we're past, we're fine, like, up until like the 3rd round. But nah, everyone just has to play badly.
Honestly, at this point, just fire the team, bro. Just fire. Can we fire the team, please? Can we just fire the team? Like Seattle. There's an expansion this year for Seattle. Can we just add Toronto to the expansion? Just send the entire team to free agency and then just do an expansion draft. Just start and you relocate the team to Atlanta. All right, because clearly we can't win if we're in the north. We can't win if we're north of the border. So you know what? Let's try a different approach. Let's move to the south of the border. We'll be the Atlanta palm trees, all right? And let's see if we can win in the south. Let's see if we win in America, all right? Do an expansion draft, right? Like it worked for Vegas, right? They made a cup finals, first year of existence. Maybe it'll work for us. Just beats beating our head against this exact roster every year.
I know, just like honest, yeah. Ryan's right. Just move the team so that Ryan. Maybe just move the team so that we don't even have to cheer for them anymore. I will gladly go cheer.
That's what I'm saying.
Just go. I'll gladly go cheer for another team, but like I can't because the Leafs. They're just kind of in.
And that's why I say not all sports fans. Exactly. That's why I say not all sports fans are insane. It's just Leafs fans that are insane because only a Leafs fan would look at what's happened the last 4 years and decide, hey, I want more of that. I'll come back for more. I'll come back next year. I'll watch this team fall apart in the playoffs again because that is what I like to watch and I like to root for. This is the team I chose. Of all 31 teams in the NHL, good, bad, this is the team I chose to root for. I don't think there's a single team that is more painful to root for in the entire NHL than the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really do not feel that because the Leafs have this uncanny ability of making you believe, making you hope, and then just instantly tearing it away. It's not even about expectation. In 2013, no one was expecting Toronto to beat Boston, right? Why was that loss so gut-wrenching and heartbreaking? For a franchise that hadn't won in like 10 years, hadn't made it to the playoffs consistently for like 20. They finally made the playoffs, and for 10 minutes, for 30 minutes, that team made an entire city, an entire fan base believe for 30 minutes that they were going to the second round. And 20 minutes later, it fell apart in the span of 5 minutes. Like, that's the magic of this team. Like, they're so unapologetically heartbreaking. And I'd compare this team to the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? And I try to use that as a reason for optimism. But the thing is, the Lightning weren't out in the first round every year, right? Like, they made steps and improvements year after year, and they made it further and further. And sometimes they took a step back, but they followed that up with a year where they take 2 steps forward. You know, with this team, we're just, no matter what our front office does, whether they put in a new coaching staff, a new power play, like people are saying, oh, like Manny Malhotra doesn't know what he's doing with the power play. Yeah, sure. The Leafs power play was bad last year too.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't as bad as the power play was this year, but the power play struggled last year, right? And people were talking about how it was too one-dimensional. It was just Marner passing to Matthews, right? At some point, it's not just about the assistant coaches anymore. It's not just the assistant coach doesn't know what to do with the Leafs on the power play. Oh, how can you not figure it out with 5 superstars making a combined $50 million on the ice? How can you not figure out a power play that works? Well, clearly, like 3 sets of assistant coaches haven't managed to figure it out. They haven't managed to figure out a way to keep this power play unit going for an entire season. And at some point, that's on the players, not just on the coaching staff.
Yeah, because anyone calling for Dubas or Keefe's head, it makes no sense, right? Like, they've brought in all these amazing players. They put together a team on paper that should be able to steamroll through to at least the conference finals, right? And yet, these players, they just disappear. And that's the problem. If these players play to their potential, they play to their rating, they play to what they are supposed to be, this isn't a question of when. It isn't a question of if they make it past the first round or if they make it past the second round. Even it's a question of when and when they win that cup. But nope, every single year they just fail to do what they did in the regular season or they've done in years past, and that's why we're here right now.
Like, I remember watching a Steve Dangle video 4 years ago. And he posted a video, and it was Phil Kessel trade, an era wasted. And in many aspects, I feel like we are coming back to that exact moment here with this roster. At some point, you have to look at the last 4 years. And some people would say it's not a failure because, you know, this is the best Leafs team that we've seen in like 20 years, right? And to those people, if you're fine with getting out, you know, watching this team get into the playoffs and never do anything in the playoffs, that's fine, right? But you look at the plan, right? The whole, we have a process. We're going to build this team the right way. And they basically marketed this core and said, this is going to work. They promised a cup-hungry fan base who's been starving for playoff success. And they sold this plan to us. And they said, this is the team that's going to do it because we finally got management figured out. We're going to do this the right way. And you look at this roster, you have an all-star caliber defenseman on the blue line. You have a multiple-time all-star captain of a franchise, a guy who carried the Islanders for many years, still in his prime, on your second line in John Tavares. You have a 6th overall pick in William Nylander, who could be a first liner on more than half of the NHL's
Oh yeah, for sure.
roster. And he's on your second line. You have a guy you selected with the fourth overall pick, the local boy, played for the London Knights, an electrifying playmaker, bet on himself. Everyone said he was too small to make it in the NHL. Comes in, plays with John Tavares, 94 points, elite talent. And let's not forget Austin Matthews, one of the greatest goal-scoring talents we have seen in recent memory. And then you add in the feel-good stories. Zach Hyman, a guy that everyone gave up on. Florida traded him for a bust that the Leafs drafted. He goes through the Leafs development camp. He becomes this amazing top 6 player for us. You look at all of these things that have happened, and it had all the makings of something we look back on in 20 years from now and say, this is the blueprint that got the Leafs a cup, or this is the blueprint that made this team great again. And 4 years into this experiment, when the testing really started, because before that, the guys were young. They weren't really expected to play that well, to perform that well. They were tanking for Matthews. Those years don't count. That was part of the building the team. But for the last 4 years, this process that management sold us through, they said, we're going to stop trying to retool. We're going to rebuild, and it's going to work. They sold us through this process, right? They traded away Phil Kessel. They let all the veterans go, and they said, this will work. And what do we have to show for it? 4 first-round exits. Nothing's changed. It's just disappointing. It's disappointing, and I don't know what else there is to say as a Leafs fan.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It should work, right? Look at this team. It should be good. There's no reason to think it shouldn't be. Brian, can you think of one right now? Is there any good reason why this team shouldn't win the Cup?
Only that there might be one team that's better,
Yeah.
or 2 teams that are better.
Yeah, 1 or 2 teams, and the Leafs can hang with them easily, right?
If this team could just realize how good they are, just realize how much talent that they have, and just put it together. In the last 10 minutes of Game 6, I was watching the team play, and I've never seen a team play with that much passion, with that much heart, with that much grit. I've never seen this Leafs team play that hard before. I never saw them with that much fight. And I looked at them and I said, why can't you give me that effort 60 minutes for one playoff series? I'm not asking you to give me that kind of intensity, that kind of heart, that kind of playoff mentality for an entire month, for an entire 2 months, for an entire playoff run, for an entire season. I'm asking for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. Just go out there and show them that you're the better team. Because you are the better team. You just have to just play like it, And it's so frustrating to watch this team struggle. Carey Price was amazing, right? We can give Carey Price props. He is officially the father of every single Toronto Maple Leafs fan and player in history. All right, Carey Price was elite this series. Regardless of how Carey Price played, the Leafs should have won this series, and they should have won it handedly. When we were doing the playoff recap at the start of the year, at the start of the playoffs, I said, Montreal, the only way Montreal wins this series is if these 3 things happen. If Carey Price goes God mode, if the Canadiens play a gritty style and the Leafs fail to adjust, and 3, if the Leafs chemistry is messed up because of injuries, because of guys coming in and out of the lineup, right? But the chemistry issue is not something that the Leafs can control, right? I specifically said, if all 3 of these happen, and only if all 3 happen, the Leafs will lose this series. If even one of these things fail to happen, the Leafs will win this series. And I was right. And the frustrating thing is, two of these things you can count on happening. You can count on injuries because we knew heading into the series that Nick Foligno and Zach Hyman weren't 100%. And playoff hockey comes with injury risks all the time. So you knew someone was going to get knocked, someone was going to get hurt, lines were going to get changed. You knew that was going to happen. And Carey Price at this point, you know he's going to be elite when the playoffs come around. And hell, the third one was a given as well. You knew Montreal knew they weren't talented enough to hang with this team. So they were going to play like Columbus did last year. Physical, gritty, hit hard, get in your face. And those things you can't control. As the Leafs, you can't control any of those three things. But out of everything that I said, what is the one thing you can control? How you adjust. How do you adjust to the adversity? How do you adjust to the way the Habs are trying to make you play? And this team failed to adjust in every single facet of the game, and that's why they lost. And this has been the criticism of this team for 4 years now. And it's frustrating that it still hasn't changed. They've made zero progress in that aspect.
I don't know what happens in the offseason. Like, I know we want Marner gone. And once again, I don't see how that ends up being a good thing for the Leafs. Like, hindsight, or I don't even know what the word is, but like, you'll see that trade and you'll immediately think, that wasn't good, because there's no way you win a trade with Marner, with you win trading away Marner, but something has to happen. I don't know what it's gonna be. You think you have your goalie in Jack Campbell?
I think you don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have a
Because
choice.
with the flat cap, with the way this team's contracts are currently constructed, the Leafs are no longer in the position to pay a goalie like they paid Freddie Anderson the past 4 years.
And Freddie was good
They
for
can't pay a goalie $5 million.
I mean, and $5 million was completely worth. I am not mad at all that we
He
paid
was
Freddie
good.
Anderson.
He was
$5
really
million.
good, but the Leafs can't afford to pay a goalie that much anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can't give a guy. They can't go to free agency and try to bring back Freddie Anderson for $5 million. They can't go and try to trade for a guy like Robin Leonard making like $5 million. Can't afford it. They can't fit under the cap. You need a guy like Jack Campbell who's making less than $2 million. Maybe bring in a guy like Chris Driedger, but Driedger's probably gonna get paid $3.5 to $4 million, so he's probably out of our price range too, right? Honestly, if we're being honest, the Leafs goalie tandem next year is probably Jack Campbell and Dave Rittich. Let's be honest. Like that's probably going to be our duo.
And it's not
because
good.
Rittich is a guy who, and that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. Like Jack Campbell is going to have to show he's a 60-game starter, because I do not want to watch Dave Rittich play more than 20 games for the Leafs next year. But like that's the reality of the situation, and that's why. Like I feel like this is like almost like that moment of an era wasted, because with so much talent coming in and so many teams with such great rosters, right? Like I feel like the Leafs have peaked. Like this is as good. This year was as good as this roster was going to get. Unless we have a bunch of guys, rookies that come up on their ELCs and just play out of their minds, this team's not getting any better.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that is a spot of optimism. The Leafs managed to draft really well. They managed to sign a lot of players. Nick Robertson's gonna come up. I don't know about Amirov. We'll see. Wow, that's actually not as much as I thought it'd be.
And it's not like the Leafs have done a good job of pumping up the pipeline, but I think the Leafs' plan was they felt at least that this roster was good enough to win the cup.
I mean, I don't think anyone denied it.
I don't think they were wrong in thinking that. And I think that they developed this pipeline of prospects in stages where they're saying we need 2 or 3 guys who will be NHL ready by 2021, 2022. And they found those 3 guys, Sandin, Robertson, and Liljegren, right? They found those guys and they said we should be good enough where we can get guys on veteran minimums to come here and play and fill in the rest of our depth. And our top 6, who we've invested heavily in, should still be in their primes and should be good enough to carry this team consistently to playoff success and regular season success. What we're realizing now is this top six is not good enough to do that. And the guy, and because of that, and because teams know that, and because teams are free agents are looking at this team, veteran free agents who want to win a cup, look at this team, and now they realize that this team is not good enough to get past the first round. It's going to be harder for Toronto to find veterans that are willing to come here and waste the last years of their career to try and win a cup with them. And
Yep.
so now what happens? The pressure becomes we need to field a cup team because we're paying these guys in their primes, but we can't fill out the bottom six with NHL level players because no one wants to come here anymore. The veterans don't want to come here anymore. We don't have the money. So where does the pressure come now? The pressure comes from development. But the Leafs did not anticipate a situation like this where they would potentially have to call up so many young guys in the next 2-3 years. Amirov, like they drafted Amirov with the intention of Amirov not going to touch NHL ice until like 3 years from now. You
Yeah.
know, like
Looking at it realistically, from the Leafs pipeline, we have Robertson, Brooks, and then after that, it's I wouldn't be comfortable playing anyone else. Like we came in, and there were so many good depth pieces, but they were all out of free agency.
they're
And
all veterans
yep, they're all veterans.
looking to win a cup.
Yeah, and now that's not an option anymore. So yeah, I think Ryan's right. This Leafs team's peaked. They got to do some kind of retool because it's not getting done with this core. I think they really fixed up the defense. That at least you should be able to keep
It's
around.
something.
Yeah, it's something you should be able to keep around. The goaltender situation is very, very concerning because it's Jack Campbell. We're putting Jack Campbell into the same situation we put Freddie in all those years ago.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
horrible. It's horrible, right? We're coming full circle, and
Full circle.
we don't have the excuse that our stars are 19-year-old or 18-year-old anymore. These guys,
No, they're in their prime.
yeah, they're touching their prime right now, and we can't say that anymore. That's why this team isn't winning. Campbell's going
Yeah.
to be in the same situation Freddie's in. The only plus is that we have a good defense now, and then the offense is going to be just getting worse and worse progressively unless a bunch of prospects can, I don't know, make a big jump.
And that's why I think we have to trade Marner, even if it's at a loss, because that $11 million is too much. It's ruined. Like paying three guys $11 million, and then when Zach Hyman gets his raise, like that top six is just too expensive. We can't afford that top six and to try to keep a sustainable winning team, especially if we can't convince veterans to come here to play with us in our bottom six.
Exactly.
It's just not possible.
It would have worked. It would have worked if you guys could just win. Just win once. And you've shown this, and you've shown the guys in free agency, you can come here, we can be a cup contender, and we could win. But you haven't done that. And
Exactly. And you cannot sell that anymore.
yeah,
Like a guy like Paul Stastny, right? Like I would love it if Paul Stastny came here on like a 1 year, like $2 million deal in free agency this year. He's gonna get paid, so like that was always not gonna be really, but maybe like 2 years from now, right? Like a Paul Stastny's like 38, like maybe he'd sign that'd be like a dream, right? The thing is, Paul Stastny looks at Jason Spezza and goes, "You just wasted 2 years of your last couple of years of your ability to play hockey to play with this team, and you can't get out of the first round." And this like last year's team was as good as it was gonna get. Like why would I waste my time like signing with this team? It's just infuriating as a fan, because you know this team's capable of so much more.
yeah. I think that's just the premise. We know they're capable of so much more, and we're just beating around the subject right now. We're going in circles, but in the middle of that circle is they are capable of so much more, and I believe in them. They believed in themselves. Every Leafs fan, even people who weren't Leafs fans, they knew this team was good, but they just aren't playing to what their capability is. And we've been talking for 50 minutes saying the exact same thing. It's just they aren't playing as good as they could play.
Another wasted year. We wasted another year of our superstars primes, and we had nothing to show for it. And that's that. That's that. That's our reaction to this game. That like if you were, I'm sorry if you guys were hoping for another video of me screaming into my microphone about how fucking terrible this team is, but I think you got the message after Game 6 about that. I think this game is just us showing our disappointment and our disbelief.
Yeah,
And I think that's all there is to it.
and the thing is, we're gonna be cheering for them next year. We just are. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna, we're gonna believe. Okay, you know what? Forget this. We are not gonna believe in this team, but we're still gonna cheer for them. And
Yeah. We're glutton for punishment.
I'm gonna go into my Instagram DMs. I'm gonna go into Discord, and I'm gonna be clowned for the rest of the year until.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, me too.
yep,
All of us are.
yep.
And it's gonna be great. I'm gonna love every single second of it. Every single second. Enjoy. I'm remind myself. These are the moments I live for. This is why I'm a Leafs fan. So I can be humiliated every single offseason and throughout the entire season. I'm reminded of my team's failures. That's why I love being a Leafs fan. Fuck my life.
Well, I think that's gonna be enough. It's 10:30, and I got school. We both got school tomorrow.
Yeah, we got out of this video. Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be 51 minutes long, but I mean, there's so much to talk about. Actually, no, that's a lie. There isn't so much to talk about. There's one thing to talk about, but there's no way to say it properly.
It was just that's what's so frustrating about this is the issue is so simple. It's frustratingly simple. Just get it together, Toronto. Just get it together. That's all I had. Just get your shit together, please.
Yep.
Like for the love of God.
And please go easy on us. Please.
Yes, it's been a tough night.
Yeah.
It's been a tough week.
And we'll be back to hoping for them next year. But until then, we're just gonna go cry ourselves to sleep. All right. See ya.
These are two depressed Leafs fans. See ya, boys.